it, but the pre-grid now being released. So, our last race before the lunch break, Senior Rotax, Heat 4, Groups B versus D. Let's have a look at the starting grid. Lachlan Robinson will start in the 326 on pole position, and alongside will be the 389 of Nick Coppens. Elia Galvanin in the 371 will have the 357 of Mark Kimber alongside. Luca Thiel in the 398 and David Lackner in the 351 round out the top three rows. Benedek Vida in the 346 and Zsombor Kovac make it an all-Hungarian row number 4 with Kovac in the 379. Patrick Donica from Poland and Christian de Klein from the Netherlands round out the top 10. Completing the 15-strong order is Beer Dorrestein from the Netherlands, Felix Jansson from Sweden, Germany's Maurice Schmeis, Switzerland's Sasha Klavedecha and Alexander Abkazava from Georgia. So we head on to the formation lap. And again, this weather is just getting quite difficult for these drivers to have this chance to move forward and keep pushing. There will be Robinson and Coppens on the front row of the grid. These conditions are getting worse and worse. You can see a blanket has hit the circuit. Out of the final corner we go. The revs start to intensify and increase. Are we ready? And we're off and racing, and a good start, well timed by Lachlan Robinson to keep ahead of the rest of the field as they go into turn 2 for the first time of asking. Getting a bit close between him and Nick Coppens. Mark Kimber trying to go side by side with Elia Galvanin and gets past the Italian, as has Luca Thiel from Germany, as they head up to the left-hander at turn 4 for the first time. Robinson trying to just keep ahead of everybody else and just keep cool, calm and collected. He won't have to worry. He's got a gap already as Kimber trying to go up the inside of Coppens, and there is a JJ Racing cart round the wrong way. That is Maurice Schmeis in the 310. But now it's getting all kinds of up close and personal as Luca Thiel just keeping it planted, going round the outside. Oh, when he gets turned around, there was a touch between him and Zsombor Kovac going into the chicane. Luca Thiel's race has just tumbled, has been turned around on its head like a sand timer. But Lachlan Robinson leads the way, and the Dubai-based driver will bring them out of the final corner to complete lap number 1. Mark Kimber is closing in on the 326 from KR Sport. Zsombor Kovac rounds out the top 3. Nick Coppens in 4th place. Gap between Robinson and Kimber was just over 6 tenths. Robinson, a 1 minute 6.414. He's now got to just keep his wits about him because Kimber is closing fast. Maurice Schmeis tumbles all the way down to 15th and stone dead last as the battle for 3rd position is being contested by a quartet of drivers. The one that's leading it, Zsombor Kovac, Nick Coppens, and then Benedek Vida just scythes his way up the inside. Was that Elia Galvanin, I think? I'm not too sure. But I would say that's probably going to be Benedek Vida up the inside of Rotax Motorsports, Beer Dorrestein, and Kimber and Robinson now go into battle. Robinson is going to keep it nice and on the road. He's got to do the right thing. I think he kind of knew that Kimber was going to close on him at a rate of knots, and that's exactly what happens. in these kind of weather conditions. And sometimes when you've been at this track and you've raced it in the dry, you've tested in the dry, and then the wet weather comes along and brings something completely different. This is the first time a lot of these drivers have come to the circuit, but here is a battle here. Oh my goodness, 385, Felix Jansson from Sweden. Oh, rejoins unsafely a little bit there and nearly goes into the side of Sasha Klavodetscher. Whilst rejoining, he was battling away with the likes of Elliot Galvan and Christian de Klein and Luca Thiel. Good pick-up from our camera crew right there. But that just shows how quickly things can turn around. And it was when he was battling away, and de Klein was actually on his inside. So Christian de Klein might have been the instigator, probably unwilling instigator, because his wet weather conditions are not proving to be that great for anybody. And here's a few other drivers. There's the 351, that's David Lackner from Austria, running with Speedworld. It's based out of the Speedworld circuit at Bruck an der Leitha, which is based around about half an hour's drive outside of Vienna. So Kimber still leads. Dorrestein has parked the kart as it's going to be nearly three. Morris, it looked like Morris Schmeis was trying to go side by side with Galvanin and Donica, but had to think better of it. He's going toe-to-toe with the Italian. And here comes Alexander Abkazava, the Georgian. 6.25 minutes to go, plus an additional lap. And Alexander Abkazava trying to go toe-to-toe with Morris Schmeis. Beer Dorrestein has parked the kart, unfortunately. The 304 from the Netherlands. And this is still a battle waging on. This is Morris Schmeis versus Elliot Galvanin from Italy. And there is the 346 of Benedek Vida, who gets past his Italian teammate. Luca Thiel up into P5. Kimber is leading now, and he's putting in fastest laps after fastest lap. Lachlan Robinson sitting pretty good in second position, even though he's now 3.379 seconds behind Kimber. But has shown, obviously at Italy, he showed very, very good pace. As that was a bit of a clumsy move there from Benedek Vida, who manages to get past Elliot Galvanin once again. David Lackner is closing in now. This is the battle for 9th place on the road. So 9th through to 11th position. Is a bit sideways there, putting down the power, was Elliot Galvanin. So just 4.75 minutes left to go in this race as David Lackner nearly tangles with the side pod, the right-hand side one of Elliot Galvanin on that particular exchange. As the drivers battle against the elements and each other. There's Morris Schmeis against Benedek Vida. Now, I noticed that the front bumper on Morris Schmeis's kart doesn't look 100% well, where it should be, but I'm not 100% sure of that. Obviously, that's down to scrutineering. There has been a time penalty given, and it's been given to, not at all surprised, Christian de Klein with his incident with Felix Jansson gets a 5-second time penalty for pushing. So we'll drop the youngster down from what is 6th place, and currently if things were to finish as they stand, he would finish in 9th, where Benedek Vida is currently. More battles up and down the order. Morris Schmeis again, I think, is still battling away, and this time it is with Patryk Donica from Poland, who's made some hay whilst the sun has shined. Well, where there's been no sunshine. No, actually, it's Morris Schmeis versus Benedek Vida. So Donica has crossed the line, and it's going to be Benedek Vida. Morris Schmeis. David Lackner's got past Elliot Galvanin a bit earlier on. Looks to go up the inside of the 310. Oh, and spins it around, and then all of a sudden, that compromises Schmeis, who T-bones the side pod. All of a sudden, the floodgates open for the likes of Felix Jansson and Sasha Klavodetscher and Alexander Abkazava, who's dropped down to 14th. So that was these weather conditions are catching everyone out. And it might not be it might be the slightest mistake, but that slight mistake can cause you problems, because the way that Lackner just sent it in and then Schmeis had nowhere to go. That's the thing, when you try and do a bit of a Danny Rick, lick the stamp and send it in these wet weather conditions, you can be caught out. And Maurice Schmeis is just trying to get that cart back over to the finish line. So effectively, I know for a fact that with the impact that front bumper sustained, that could be a drop down for the 310, but that will be confirmed in the official ratified and confirmed results. Mark Kimber is now leading by 7.7 seconds ahead of Lachlan Robinson, who is keeping himself ahead of Nick Cuppins. It's just under 2 minutes to go, plus an additional lap on this race. Zsombor Kovacs rounds out the top four. And as a result of that incident involving David Lackner and Maurice Schmeis, Schmeis has dropped all the way down to 13th. Elliot Galvanin closing in on the 351 from Austria, and that's for 10th position on the road. Looks like they've got Sasha Klavadetscha closing in on their back bumpers. Kimber completes another lap. We're on lap number 9. And we will have another couple of laps to go after this one. Lachlan Robinson just keeping himself composed. Nick Cuppins trying to chase him down, and Nick Cuppins puts in a 1 minute 5.355 on that last lap and gets to within 0.8 of the driver from the UAE, who continues to circulate in second position, having started from pole in this race. There's Mark Kimber. And his gap over Robinson was nearly 9.5 seconds after 8 laps of racing, but with the weather conditions deteriorating as they have done, I'm not at all surprised that Kimber has been able to eke out this significant advantage. So Kimber now comes out of the final corner and goes on to lap number 10. So just 2.630 kilometres remain for the Brit, who'll become another race winner this weekend here in Senior Rotax. Robinson at the moment is keeping Nick Cuppins at bay. Robinson is responding to the Belgians' intent on trying to get second position, and Kimber's lead now is racked up to 10.7 seconds. And at the moment, Sasha Klavadetscha trying to close in. Well, Maurice Schmeis is trying to close in on Sasha Klavadetscha for 12th place in the dying moments, whereas the field seems to have spread out a little bit. And Christian de Klein is a very lucky person indeed. Also, the 385 of Felix Jansson has also got a time penalty for pushing. And that will drop the Swede outside of the top 10. But Christian de Klein has gotten away with his 5-second time penalty for pushing. He will stay in 6th place at the moment. Final lap board out for Mark Kimber from Great Britain, as we wait to see who is still in second place. And it is still Lachlan Robinson. Nick Cuppins in third and is half a second adrift of the UAE-based driver. Kimber has not really put a foot wrong. All he knew what he needed to do was to get past Robinson in the early phase of this race, and he's done so, and he's led after what would have been a very different story had we been in the drive, because there would have been a great battle between Robinson and Kimber, I can guarantee you that much, and Nick Cuppins would have been in the throes of that too. Beard Dotterstone unfortunately retired on lap number 2 of this race, but we've got 2 more corners to go. An exemplary drive from Great Britain's Mark Kimber, who comes out of the final corner and wins Heat 4 in Senior Rotax. And it's going to be by a commanding margin. Who's going to be there for second place? We're about to find out. Momentarily, Lachlan Robinson is going to be passed by Nick Cuppins out of the final turn and gets demoted down to third. 56 thousandths between the pair at the end of that race. Lachlan Robinson had been holding on for second position right up until the final corner, and Nick Cuppins had gotten close enough to start reeling him in, and that was it. Job done. The Belgian got into second place as the entire field has now crossed the finish line, completing the racing action for this morning. So let's have a look at the results for our 9th race of the day out of 18, Senior Rotax Heat 4, Groups B and D. Mark Kimber wins by 13.95 seconds at the end of 11 laps of racing, ahead of Nick Cuppins, who pips Lachlan Robinson to the post for second place coming out of the final corner. Zsombor Kovac in 4th, Luca Thiel in 5th, Christian Klein in 6th, ahead of Patrick Donica, Benedek Vida, Felix Jansson, David Lackner, Elia Galvanin, Maurice Schmeis, Sasha Klavedecha and Alexander Abkazava, who rounds out the 14 that finished. Beer Dorestein unfortunately retired on lap number 2, but we also have 2 penalties, one for decline which keeps him in 6th, and Felix Jansson will be dropped to around about 12th place at the end of this race. Well, that concludes the